a flare-free day and night. I woke up and did not have a flare-free night whatsoever. I had excruciating abdominal pain last night and upper right thigh leg pain. I haven't had that amount of pain during a flare-up in a long time. I found that I've been trying to have a good routine for myself, and that routine has been working so far. So keeping very active and moving my body, keeping up with exercises, eating fairly healthy. Again, this flare-up happened like out of the blue. So it just reminds me of how far I've come to find pain management options, but it's also very frustrating in this journey because you realize that you are sick still. You are sick, and yeah, you can have all these tips and tricks to help you with your chronic illness, but some days you have hard days too, where it's like this, and you feel like you're moving backwards in your journey because you're like, well, I'm doing everything I can do. I'm doing everything right. I'm doing all the things that have usually helped in the past, but it's just one of those mornings where you wake up and you're frustrated, and it kind of, for me, it like disrupts the schedule that I have the next day, because I still am feeling like my flare-up continuing. Like I'm still having lower cramping. That upper right thigh leg pain is a little bit there still, so I'm not fully into the zone of working or like keeping up my routine of exercise and eating well, because I'm just so tired and exhausted from like the very physically painful flare-up. So just having a morning where the reality of having a chronic illness can be like pretty difficult and pretty like a roller coaster. And like they always say, like healing isn't linear, and it's not just like a straight cut go forward and there's not gonna be any more bumps in the road, but this is a reality, and I just have to be easier on myself today. But know that if you had a flare-up last night or are having one, know that I'm with you. And it's hard. It's really hard. It's really hard, but you're not alone. And we'll find avenues to have pain management that helps along the way, but some days it's just going to be like this, and I have to kind of realize that and kind of go with the flow of the healing journey. But until my surgery date comes, I'm being hopeful that it's not going to be pushed back any further, because I'm really hoping that provides a little bit more relief. So anyways, lots going on in my mind right now, but I hope you're all doing well and are flare free. Hey everyone, hope you're having a flare-free day. I thought that I would pop back on and just kind of talk to you about what happened this week and how I'm feeling, and a little bit about how I'm feeling about my personal healing journey. I find since that flare-up, I've been feeling a lot better. I still hold a bit of tension all the time because I am nervous about a flare-up happening, and that's just my body and how I process my pain. So I'm never fully relaxed, but I find that the cramping has subsided. I'm obviously not in excruciating pain right now. Living with a chronic illness is sometimes confusing because on the outside you seem fine and you're able to talk coherently and hopefully clearly, and some days you're curled up in a bed and no one knows what you're going through except for yourself, which can be hard and kind of lonely in the journey. And chronic illnesses and healing are tricky because you feel like you have a process and a routine made that has been working for a certain amount of time. And then you have that one day where a flare-up happens out of the blue. You don't know what caused it. You haven't really eaten an inflammatory food, or you didn't really have alcohol, or you didn't exercise to the point where you're pushing your limits. And it just happens. And that's the frustrating part of this chronic illness journey for me, is that you think you have a process and then a flare-up happens, and it can be really hard, and you can feel like you're going backwards in your journey. And I'm not like a healing coach or a mindset coach. I'm just talking on behalf of my own experiences, but I don't know what can help with the healing yet. I'm still in my journey, but for me, like, I've come to terms with it, and I think that's the best way to describe it. I don't know if that's healed or like caused me to feel more healed in my journey, but I've come to terms with flare-ups being a part of my story. even if I have a set routine, it might still happen, and I've come to terms with that. Although I don't know exactly what the healing journey can look like for different people, some things that have helped me just kind of come to terms with my chronic illness so far include learning how to appreciate my body. So again, like coming to terms with flare-ups, I know that's a part of my journey, but also giving my body grace because it's gone through so much during a painful flare-up, and it's not easy to like bounce right back. So in the mornings, if I'm still feeling that consistent cramping, I just kind of, I'm easier on my body, and I put it into context and into perspective of what my body has gone through the night before, and just give myself grace for what I can and cannot accomplish the next day or the couple of days after. You know, in popular culture or even in day to day, like you see healing as, you know, an event happens and over time it gets better. Like that common statement of it takes time to heal. And I think if we cut our hand, for instance, we can see the actions and we can see the healing process in front of us of, you know, I see a cut and then it's bleeding and then it's a scab and then it fully heals and our hand's back to normal. And that's a linear process. But when it comes to emotionally healing or healing within a chronic illness journey, whatever that includes, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, all of that, I don't know what the right answer is. And it's hard because I feel like in that part of the journey, it's layered. It's some days you can feel really good and you've come to terms with something, but then another layer comes up, like someone says something or they don't believe your pain, and it's like, oh, I feel like I have a defense up and that part's not fully healed from my medical gaslighting past. And that's how I'm kind of discovering my healing journey, is that it's a layered process, and some days are gonna be really hard and some days are gonna be middle and some days are gonna be amazing and it's gonna be the best day of my life. And I want you to just know that I always say this, but you're not alone. And I think I come on here to kind of like be authentic with it because I don't know what the answers are sometimes, but I want to show you that yes, that day was pretty bad, and I kind of just took the day easy that day. But then I had a great day the next day. I went to the Christmas market in Toronto. I walked around with my partner. I enjoyed the sunshine. I was enjoying carolers. And even today, I feel pretty good, although I'm getting emotional talking about things, but I feel good physically. I feel like I'm not really cramping or whatever. But basically, a healing journey can sometimes be hard. And sometimes I don't know what the right answer is, and I don't know what the next steps are in my journey sometimes. And I sometimes feel like I want to change up things, but I'm scared to do that because I don't want to cause more flare-ups by changing a piece of my diet or changing a routine that I have, because so far it has worked for a little bit of time. It's caused me to feel a little bit better over time, and I've had longer stints in between flare-ups. But yeah, it's hard sometimes. And I think I just want to say that it's okay to have bad days because there are good days too. And healing is difficult sometimes, and it can look different for everybody, but just know that we're in it together and there are good days with the hard days.